Hello and welcome back to the MLB DFS slate breakdown for Wednesday, September 8th. We are back. We're going to be breaking it down. We got a big slate today that does start about 30 minutes earlier than it generally does. So for you main slate people, be aware we do have an early start time. Now, before we get into the slate, come join us at LineStar. We have free trials through either app store, can get you 7 days free to try us out, and then you can come join us for $39.99 per month, or use one of these promo offers down below: Parlay Play, Sleeper, Underdog, Chalkboard, all of which can get you a free month of LineStar. Just follow the descriptions here. Promo codes are LineStar, and deposit, get the offer, play a little bit, and have yourself a day. Now, let's get into the slate. As always, we will start off on going through the perfect lineups, the winning lineups, and then getting to the slate itself. So, FanDuel perfect lineup. Griffin Canning was the pitcher, 7,700, put up 46. He was one of the guys I liked, and he ended up having a day. Then we had a two-man Met stack and all one-offs. We had a couple guys really go nuts yesterday, so you needed to have them, and we weren't near needing all of the salary. Now, the winning lineup went to Nick PS119, who had Griffin Canning. They had a four-man Texas stack, a two-man Yankees, and then one off with Christian Walker and Tovar here. So had only two pieces of the Colorado game, and then was heavy on Texas and New York, which was the combo you wanted yesterday. Now, getting over to DraftKings, our perfect lineup over there is Zach Wheeler and Griffin Canning, both pitchers we talked about. Then we have a two-man Met stack, two-man Ranger stack, and then some one-offs from there on out. Unfortunately, still don't have that winning DraftKings lineup. So let's jump right in. Two pitchers and ownership. So Dean Kremer, 20% owned on a 12-game slate, is your high-owned pitcher. He is only 6,200, and we have him at 2.5x. There's no surprise that he is going as the highest-owned pitcher. He's in a very good spot, and he's been dealing lately. 2.47 FIP over his last five, 24% K rate. I'm absolutely willing to go here, even at high ownership. He's just frankly way too cheap. I mean, it's a guy that should be, 12, 13, maybe 1,500 more than he is currently priced at. So I get why you'd want to go here, even at high ownership. And on a 12-game slate, you generally don't have to worry about ownership too much. Next, we got Ryan Papoy, 7,600. This is a spot that would have been very, very bad for him earlier in the season. But lately, over the last 20 games, Red Sox have been struggling versus righties. 224 average, 149 ISO, 289 WOBA. So over the last 20 games, they haven't been good. However, over the last 150, they have crushed righties. So we don't really know what we're going to get here from Boston. I think there is upside as far as if you wanted to play a Boston stack. And then Ryan Papoy, meanwhile, he's been terrible lately, but then was decent earlier in the season. 4.24 FIP over his last 20 starts, 6.08 over his last 5. So he's been nowhere near the pitcher he was earlier in the season. I struggle to want to go here at high ownership. Kremer I'm fine with. Papoy, he's probably not the low-owned guy I'm going into on high ownership. Next, we got Tariq Skubal, the lefty against the Royals, and Royals have struggled versus lefties recently. 202 average, 114 ISO, 248 WOBA, not good. And Skubal, the AL Cy Young, just dealing all season long. Absolutely willing to go here. 10.6K is not too much for me. Next, we got Sonny Gray, 9.4K, 2.6X. We got a combined K rate of 24.5. We know Sonny Gray is very good. They're letting him throw a few more pitches lately as well. He is in a little bit of a tough spot, though. Pittsburgh has been decent versus righties lately, but Sonny Gray, I do believe, is a little bit cheap. I am fine to go here. I would rather Scooble if you're going to pay up, though. But Sonny Gray is in a fine spot, has the upside you want, he's a solid floor option as well. So fine going there. Next, we got Tanner Bybee versus the Minnesota Twins. Bybee's fallen off a little bit. The guy was dealing for a stretch and now seems priced a little bit high, even though we still have him at 2.3x. He has a 4.89 FIP over his last 5, 25% K rate over that span. StatCast data is a little scary, 37% hard contact, 46% fly balls, a lot of barrel balls. But he's done very well versus Minnesota. 65 plate attempts. They're only hitting 138 off him and striking out at almost 31%. He's faced them 3 times this year, but each time has been a little worse of an outing. So that is a little bit scary, but all in all, he's done very well off them, and he's going to face them again at home. I'm interested in the spot. I just don't think it's like a home run spot, but you can't knock the success he's had when it's been 3 games versus them. Jose Quintana versus Washington Nationals. It's a decent spot. Quintana just doesn't have that much upside in the strikeout department. We got him at only a 20.6% combined K rate. Pretty much for him to put a usable score up, you need him to go 7 innings. Does he go 7? Maybe. He definitely can. He's efficient enough. He's cheap enough, absolutely, to consider as well at 6.5K, 2.4X. The one thing is that I just probably wouldn't go 2 super cheap pitchers. I don't know if I want Kramer and Quintana. Quintana, however, is probably the other low-owned pitcher that I would take outside of Kramer. Next, Bryce Miller. Yesterday we talked about Brian Wu, who had big splits home and away, and Bryce Miller does too. 70% difference from home and away. The guy is very, very good at home. He struggles away, and he's home now. But it's versus the Yankees. That didn't go well for Wu yesterday. Does it go a little bit better for Miller? Maybe. But it's very hard to click that Bryce Miller name when you are versus the Yankees. The one thing, Miller does have more strikeout stuff than Wu does. So the upside is there if you want to click the name. He has a bunch of 30-plus scores, all of which have been at home except for one Milwaukee game. So I'm very interested in Miller. Don't mind going there. It is against the Yankees, so I'm going to have a little bit, maybe not very much. Next, we got Nasty Nestor Cortez, 2.2 X, 7.8K. I think he's in an interesting spot. Seattle hasn't been good versus lefties. Cortez has been fine, 3.72 FIP over the last 5, 4.19 over the last 20, 22% K rate, 20.6% combined K rate is a little bit low, but he's only 7.8K. I don't mind having a little Nasty Nestor. I would not, however, go hard on him. Next, Aaron Nola, I'm out. Dylan Cease, hard click versus the Astros. They just don't strike out that much. So for that reason and the fact that he's a little inconsistent, I am probably out. However, if there is a guy on this slate that has the stuff to still rack up the Ks versus the Astros, it is Dylan Cease or Scooble. So for that reason, I'm not 100% out, but I don't love the spot for him. Landon Knack, I am not going there. Spencer Schwellenbach, I'm actually very interested in this spot at low ownership. The one thing is that the Reds have been good versus righties lately. 272 average, 131 ISO, 335 WOBA, striking out almost 23%. But Swellenbach has been extremely good. 3.37 FIP with 26.7% K rate. At 8.4K is interesting enough, and at low ownership, I'm willing to take a little bit of him. It is Great American Small Park, so he may give up a home run, but as long as it's a solo shot, it's not going to kill you. Framber Valdez versus Padres, I just don't want to go against the Padres. I mean, versus lefties, 14.7% K rate is just not going to get it done. But they have struggled versus lefties on and off throughout the year, so I don't, totally hate the spot, but I definitely don't love it. He is also averaging 34% less fantasy points while away. So couple notches in his cap to want to go there, couple to not want to go there. Now, as we go on down further, there's only a couple other guys that I would really be interested. Bowden Francis is one. We've seen him have some giant games, and he's in a decent spot versus the Rangers. 3.58 FIP over his last 5 starts, 24% K rate. He's flirted with a couple no-nos. He obviously is efficient enough to get deep into games. He has a little bit of strikeout upside. I'm a little intrigued with Bowden just because of the upside that he does carry. However, very large chance that he just ends up mid-teens and doesn't work for you. But with the upside of, 30 plus, I'm a little interested there. Freddie Peralta, I don't love in the spot. Bailey Ober, I don't love in the spot. Cody Bradford, I think, is a little interesting. Averaging almost 57% more fantasy points at home. Toronto has been awful versus lefties. And Bradford, a FIP of right around 4, 23% K rate at 8.1K. I'm a little intrigued. He's shown he can get us mid-20s, high 20s. At super low ownership, I'm willing to take a little bit of a chance there. All right, let's get over to FanDuel, see what we got over here pitching-wise. Our high-owned pitcher, Ryan Papoy. I'm not going there, so I will be fading him a little bit. Sonny Gray, I am absolutely intrigued with at 4K. 4K, 4X, 10.9K, 15% owned. Then there's Tariq Skubal, 11.3K. I would way rather Skubal than Sonny Gray. I'll just put that out right now, even though projection, shades to Gray and he's cheaper. I would rather Sonny. Skubal. He's less owned, and I just think there's more upside, and the price difference isn't that much. Nola, I'm not going there. Nasty Nestor at 8.5K is a little intriguing. We've seen an upside. He's in a decent spot. Wouldn't mind that one. Kremer is a little expensive on FanDuel. Then slightly interested in Schwallenbach as a low-owned option. And Bybee has shown the upside that we need in this spot, but 10.4K is a lot. I don't know if I can absolutely go there, but may have a little bit. And then Bowden is too expensive over here, and as is Bradford. So that'll do it for us. FanDuel, let's get over to some stacks. Stack attack. Hopefully nobody takes their socks off in a game today. Good old trash shows. All right, so our highest ceiling plays for today, 4 stacks, is the Milwaukee Brewers versus Aaron Nola. Look, he hasn't been that good. 4.59 FIP over his last 5, 4.2 over his last 20. Don't mind going there whatsoever. Dodgers versus Ryan Weathers. Ryan Weathers is one of the most Jekyll Hyde pitchers we have. 5.04 FIP over his last 20, 2.33 over his last 5. You never totally know what you're going to get from Weathers. I'm definitely intrigued with the Dodgers, but the Ryan Weathers factor does scare me a little bit. Now, our highest owned stacks, we got the Cardinals and the Dodgers. Cardinals, not totally sure who we're going to face yet with Pittsburgh, but their bullpen is bad. They've been hitting decently lately. They steal bases. They score a lot of different ways. Not that surprising. Braves, I think, is a little interesting. We got Jacob Junis on the bump. While he has been good, 3.8 FIP over his last 20, 3.3 over his last 5, he isn't working long deep into games. 4 or 5 innings. The bullpen behind him is meh. I think the Braves are a little interesting. If they can get to Junis, then the floodgates could really open there. Now, our highest projected, we got the Dodgers all over it versus Ryan Weathers. No big surprise there. And our value, we got a leverage stack with the Giants versus Dean Kremer. Kremer is one of the higher owned pitchers. He's been very good lately, but he isn't all that great. So you could get over on him. And the Giants have the bats to be able to do it. Miami is also popping up versus Landon Knack. I actually think this one is very interesting. Like Bobby Miller yesterday, I don't think Landon Knack's very good. So I don't mind picking on him with some Miami stacks who've been hitting a bit and are a little bit interesting. Our highest team totals, we got Dodgers at 4.9, Braves at 4.6, St. Louis Cardinals at 4.5, Orioles at 4.4 versus Hayden Birdsong. And then we have Tigers, Yankees, Rangers, Toronto, all at 4.3. The Tigers in Texas/Toronto are going to be facing the worst bullpens. So those are the ones in that 4.3 area that I would like to target. I think that Texas and Toronto are both in tough spots versus the starters, but if one of them starts to give up runs, there's big time upside. Miami is one I'm really interested in. Landon Knack at 4.1. Then we have Boston at 4, which Papoy is going high owned. Boston is at 4. They have crushed righties all season long, just not lately. Little interested in this spot if Boston is going lower owned because Papoy is going high owned. Philadelphia versus Peralta, don't love it. Tampa Bay versus Tanner Huck, I think, is interesting. Bullpen behind him isn't great. Tampa Bay can definitely get it done, can score in a lot of different ways as well. Mets keep hitting. DJ Hers has been good, but the bullpen behind him has been bad. Definitely some interest there. And then Giants, probably your best leverage stack there. So that'll do it for us today, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I haven't actually looked if we have enough games for Thursday night slate. If we don't, I'll be back Friday, but we will be dropping a bunch of NFL stuff up here as well. So have a good one, guys. Good luck. Let's make some money. Peace.